A hydraulic mine from the past or of any era is washing brand new fresh soil off the hillsides into the river. A suction dredge is taking material that's already in the bottom of the river and scooting it around a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not adding any new material to the river. That's the distinction that needs to be clear. That it's
There is no addition.
no addition.
In fact, there is a slight extraction because the materials that catch in our sluice box are removed from the river. And typically those materials, hopefully there's gold, but almost always there's a certain amount of lead, which your fishing license allows you to throw lead into the water, which really seems kind of strange. And even stranger is the state of Oregon has now banned the use of the equipment necessary to remove that lead.
Which would be a suction dredge.
Suction dredgers have reported when they're mining in areas that were favorite fishing spots of almost sinking their dredge with the amount of lead they recover. Literally pounds and pounds. There's a dandy video on YouTube available. Some guys that spent a weekend up on the Umpqua River 5, 6, 7 years ago, and they filled something like 8 5-gallon buckets with lead sinkers in just a couple of days.
You're from one little area.
From one little area. In fact, there was probably so much lead that it probably made mining for gold almost impossible because the lead built up so fast in their sluice box that any gold they might have sucked up, unless it was fairly big, probably would have just bounced over the lead and escaped the box. We are, the miners, the only ones capable of actually removing this lead from the water, and we do it at no cost to anybody but ourselves. We don't get any subsidy or tax money or anything for doing the service.
It's a service.
And we don't mind doing it. What we don't like is they won't let us do it.
Could you define that as a stewardship of the land?
Oh, yes.
Actually
I firmly believe...
and removing toxic materials?
Yeah. Firmly believe that the agencies that regulate our activity have refused to look at any of the possible beneficial effects from what we do. They only focus on possible detrimental effects. How do you regulate something without looking at both the possible good and the possible bad, and then try to weigh the two against each other to find out what is the net effect? Now, they claim that the turbidity from the suction dredge is detrimental to the fish, and yet at no time is the turbidity ever so great that it could ever be harmful to anything. Mother Nature makes the water hundreds of times more turbid than anything suction dredgers are going to do, and it'll do it throughout a whole watershed. So there's absolutely no place for if the fish is bothered by dirty water, there's no place for them to go. They can't hide from it.
Can't escape from it.
And yet, with a suction dredge running somewhere, the fish are free to swim above the suction dredge or go down the creek to where the water's clear if they don't happen to... Surprisingly, although not to us, the fish actually congregate in the hole where we're dredging. And they'll sit right behind the sluice box in the most turbid water, feeding off the tailing pile.
Because it's material that's being recirculated into the water from the floor of the river.
Sure, there's all sorts of things in this gravel, organic material.